Not a super productive day yet, from my standpoint. Now, there was a chance of rain all day at the Meadows. In fact, yesterday evening, it showed absolute downpour at the Meadows, and now it's not supposed to rain until after I'm left, which is good. Now, there's still a chance of rain at Northfield, in the Northfield area, and Ollie's game will likely be rained out, but again, it was supposed to rain all day and didn't rain a drop, so I couldn't very well take him to the Meadows with the chance of his game being played. So Jason is playing Uncle Jason this afternoon. He's going to take Ollie to his game. I'll be there hopefully just at the end because he's supposed to close the game tonight pitching. It's going to be tight. I got to watch him play yesterday. He played good. Very happy. His team is crushing right now in Ohio also, so that's cool. So, I didn't bring you a video last night. Obviously, like you, I was pretty distraught over the break by Blanton's Blue. You know, you see the first favorite blow up, the second one, the third one, you're like, and then he makes a break. Apparently, he grabbed a shoe, lost a shoe last night. He wears flip-flops. It's always a problem. You know, those flip-flops can be pesky sometimes. Now, he hasn't made a break in a long time. My first instinct was just send him back to Northfield and I'll race him in Buffalo, but with so much going on in that time frame, I have to see if that's viable also, if that's likely plausible that I can do that. I was just on the phone with my wife for the last hour trying to figure out flights. I have to go to Philadelphia for the 2nd, obviously now. We have to be in Columbus on the 1st. Now, I didn't even talk about how busy the 1st is going to be. We're supposed to race horses at the Meadows, and then I have to go to Columbus. Can I race them all? Can I race some? Can I race none? I have no idea yet. And I won't know. Obviously, first and foremost is the next generation horses. The PA horses are very important also. So a jam-packed Canada Day for us in the U.S. Obviously, I will be there for all of the horses in Columbus and as many as I can in the Meadows. So that's where that starts. That's where July starts for me. Blanton's Blues next start is on the 5th of July. That is the only question mark left for today is who will race Blanton's Blue? Who will drive Blanton's Blue on the 5th? I'll try and get that solidified for you today, but let's talk about the rest of the day. We started off the day with Royal Emeralds. I would have bet you good money I would have run that horse down coming out of the last turn, and she fizzled out. I said to Tim, guarantee you this filly doesn't scope clean. For sure she doesn't. Could you scope her? And if by chance she does, can you draw her blood the next day? Scoped full of mucus. She's done this. She's one of those horses, the allergies does bite her a little bit. I said to Tim, now that we know, we're going to have to be super aggressive with her supplements and with the way that we approach the racing with her. But otherwise, and considering even though she was sick, she still had, now she didn't have a temperature, she wasn't coughing, just she was plugged, right? Full. Airway was full, top to bottom. And still had the wherewithal, still had the mental fortitude to behave. Now, she was throwing her head because the martingale was the ring broke. But still, once we get up into gate speed, once we sped out of there, all business. Just such a nice filly. Ratio huge, and I expect very, very good things from her in the near future. So she was second, still tried at 59, last half 57 or 58 or something, last quarter in 29, raced great. Very, very impressed with the way that filly looked. And then it was all nighttime after that. We watched Absolute Euphoria. I thought raced rather well there, got cleaned out after the wire. Got to keep your head in a swivel. Louis Philippeau's horse was first disqualified for going through a whole slew of pylons and then made a break after the wire, near cleaned Absolute Euphoria out. So Absolute Euphoria ended up placed 4th, which was good. She will be entering the United States of America soon. I suspect the next time we get to race her in Scioto, she'll be on her way out. I got to do that today also. 2 things I have to do now. These videos help me too as I talk through what went on and what is going on. It gives me points of reference also. I have to remember to figure out when we're sending Absolute Euphoria down to the United States. So that's important. Now I'm at the toll, of course. I don't have my transponder with me because this is a rental, so I have to wait in the big long lineup for the tickets. But how is the lineup today? Ooh, pretty gross. The transponder lineup, not so gross. Anyway, Absolute Euphoria was great, and then just Cutie-Cumber. I know Megan told me I didn't know if she'd get around half. To be quite frank, I didn't know if she was a half-mile horse. And then she said she didn't warm up that great in the turns and was a little rough. Scott just did a great job keeping her trot, and she looked great. I thought she looked very, very good in her approach to racing. She hasn't done a lot of work outside of Tomiko Training Center on a half-mile track, so it might be a learning curve. Might be a learning curve for a Cutie, but I thought she looked well. And then what a heartbreaker! What a heartbreaker! Megan messaged me, said he lost a shoe in the warm-up. We found it, but he broke his wall up a little bit. Put the shoe back on, checked him, put him out back on the track, and Scott said leaving the gate he ripped the other one off. Does that mean we take the flip-flops off him? They're on there for a reason. I don't know. I think a lot has to be fleshed out today. It really has to be worked on in regards to Blanton's Blue. Is he staying there? Is he coming back? I mean, in a perfect world, we just bring him back, train him up, race him in Buffalo. But with my schedule heading into July the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, I don't know. I don't know what's the best thing. And quite frankly, I have my flight back. I land at 12:35 at night in Cleveland after the July 4th racing. So I'm going to miss my festivities, I guess, the July 4th festivities. Thank you, sir. I'm going to be in the United States on Canada Day and in the middle of the air for most of July the 4th. So Amy will get to celebrate the 4th of July with the kids anyway, but I won't be able to. Thank you, sir. Have a great day. So when it comes to Blanton's Blue, gotta work on that. That's as I said, a point of interest today to work on. Made that break, and it was just so hard. You watch the first one run, the second one, you're just licking your chops, and then get a kick right in the chops. So, welcome to Horse Racing 101. That was a tough one, but a good night for the most part, top to bottom. Now we get up today. I had sent a message out to everybody saying that Mick Paisley had a slight temperature. I was actually glad she did not get in Georgia, because I hate scratching horses at a pari-mutuel races. Not a big fan of scratching them at a qualifiers, but couldn't go with her today. Now her temperature was pretty good, they said this afternoon. She was eating, seemed bright. So I suspect we'll train her up. She just wasn't up to probably qualifying this morning. The other horse that was surprising wasn't up to qualifying was Seasons of Love. Looked to me like she tied up a little bit, definitely got pacey, and swung to the pace coming out of the last turn. Swung to the pace coming out of the last turn. Now, what needs to be done to rectify that? Well, first off, let's make sure it was a tie-up issue and not a footing issue or anything else. Let's take a look at her blood to ensure that it was before we get walking down that path. If it was, then we just work on keeping her quiet. Work on keeping her quiet and managing her stress level, I think would be the first step. If she did not tie up, okay, so what happened next? If it's her shoes, we need to work on her shoes, but she's been training and looking very, very good the last little while. So let's see what happened before we get too concerned about what didn't happen, and that was a clean line at the qualifiers. This filly has had a little bit of a rocky road the last couple of months. Her feet bother her, more particularly, I think, her left foot. Can't say definitively. But we did find out that was her walls. We glued her shoes on, and she has looked great ever since. She did make a break on Mario coming out of the last turn, training the other day, and they said that maybe Mario just put her in gear a little too much. So did she tie up a little bit that day? And what we saw today was a little residual AST. I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll see. But I certainly am not concerned about Winter Bells. Or, we'll get to her in a second. About Seasons of Love. I thought the filly looked good. the entire portion of her training regimen. She showed a lot of resiliency, a lot of toughness in this little break today. Although I've seen this before with her, I think we can get past it quite easily. So Seasons of Love, my apologies to my partners with her, but we can, as I said, mitigate this, get past it, and then put together a management plan for her for the entire season of racing. Now we went to Winter Bells. A lot of questions. You know, we spent a lot of time keeping her very, very quiet all season long. Did not want to have her turn into a lunatic. James did a good job qualifying her, and I know that my wife, you know, it ate away at her a little bit. She said, you know, with the snake cord on and the ear hood, she's just not finishing up. Do you really think she's fast? I said, yes, she is. Don't worry. For a filly that had schooled in like 2.3 to go out and qualify in 58.3 with a last quarter of 27 seconds flat with the earplugs in her ears and no snake cord on, open bridle, I believe. Just goes to show you how talented she is. We're going to have a lot of fun with this filly, and she looked very, very good today. Alibaba looked good, 2.4 last quarter, 28.2. We'll come back with a 2.1, 2.2 qualifier with her, and then middle of July, she's off to see Mr. Eaton. AC Swan will be a little tougher to make that timeline work. She's still a couple of weeks behind. We're going to train her tomorrow morning at Mohawk Raceway, and then we'll see how she goes. But still a couple of weeks behind Alibaba for sure. But Alibaba looked very, very good today. So, good day so far. I got my boy Vaquero Blue Chip in. I got my boy Vaquero Blue Chip in this afternoon at the Meadows. We get some horses racing tonight. Trying to do my best to make it back now, assuming Ollie's game isn't rained out. Doing my best to make it back for that game, and hopefully the weather cooperates tomorrow, and I'll be able to see him play tomorrow also. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. You have a whole huge video, weekend videos coming up. Lots to talk about, and lots of racing going on. So I'll continue down the road, trying to continue to collect my thoughts and keep them in a straight line, and work on the situation surrounding Blanton's Blue. What are we going to do with him? What's that going to look like? And everything else that is rattling around in my head. So with that, I'll let you go. I hope you guys had a great Friday. I know that my partners in Winter Bells did, and my partners in Alibaba did. I know my partners in Seasons of Love. Tough day, but don't worry about it. I've seen this movie at least 4 or 5 times. I know how to change the ending. Take care.